Hello, this is Lauren Brantley Books, and I'm here today with a review of Cinderella is Dead by Kalynn Bayron. This book is a fairy tale retelling of Cinderella but with a twist. This story takes place in the town of Lille, and in this world, Cinderella was a real person who lived over 200 years ago, and the current king of Lille, Prince Manfred, is a direct descendant of the original Prince Charming, the same who married Cinderella all those years ago. Prince Charming created a hyper-patriarchal society, one that holds Cinderella as the standard all girls must aspire to. The story of Cinderella is treated like the Bible in this society. One of the decrees from King Manfred is that every household must have a palace-approved copy of Cinderella at home, and this story is treated like a religious text. When the girls of Lille turn 16, they are required to attend a yearly ball, just like the one Cinderella attended. At the ball, the girls of Lille meet their suitors. The goal of the ball is the girl to be chosen by a suitor to be their wife. However, the girls have no say in this and are simply taken by the first man who takes interest in them. It's more like a bride auction than a fairy tale ball. Each girl can attend up to 3 balls. If she is not chosen by a suitor by her third ball, she is considered forfeit, which in this world is the worst thing a girl can be. A forfeit is taken away from her family and sent to slave away in a workhouse or factory for the rest of her life. However, even if a girl is chosen, her life may be no better. There are some heavy depictions of spousal abuse and domestic violence in this book, and they really show how even if a girl does everything quote unquote right in her society, she can still end up miserable because her life is not her own under patriarchy. I also appreciate how this book shows patriarchy can even hurt men, especially those who don't follow society's norms. This book has a clear message. Patriarchy is bad, and it's not afraid to show how ugly things can get under patriarchal rule. When it's time for our main character, Sophia, to go to her first ball, she is less than thrilled to be going. Sophia is in love with her childhood friend Aaron, but would much rather end up with her than with any man. However, she has no choice but to attend the ball. Failure to do so would lead to her getting arrested. However, when Sophia goes to the ball, things quickly go south and she's forced to flee the ball, turning herself into a fugitive. Now the king is after her, and Sophia has to find a way to bring down King Manfred, all while running for her own life. The world building of this book is a bit bare bones. We don't get a lot of detail of what Lille is like, apart from being very patriarchal and holding Cinderella story up as gospel. We also don't know much about the other customs of Lille, apart from the concept of the ball. I would have liked to learn a little more about the culture of this place. The location of Lille didn't feel fleshed out in any way. It's just a generic kingdom by a generic spooky forest. The concept of this kingdom being a place where fairy tales really happen has been done before, but I will say I did enjoy the almost Handmaid's Tale-esque twist of taking Cinderella as basically the town's religion. I just wish we had gotten to learn more about Lille as a place, as it would have made it a more memorable location. As for characters, I really like our lead, Sophia. However, it did feel a bit unrealistic that as someone who grew up in a hyper-patriarchal society, Sophia doesn't really seem to have any internal misogyny. I feel like Sophia would have been a more well-rounded character if she struggled against the negative things she's learned from her society, as that tends to be how it happens in real life. Patriarchy affects everyone internally in some way. I just don't get a sense of that with Sophia. However, Sophia's defiant and rebellious attitude was a lot of fun to follow. This was a main character from the start who was determined to break the mold of her society and do things her own way. It might not be realistic that she doesn't struggle with any internal misogyny, but it was also fun to watch her rebel. In the beginning, Sophia is determined to single-handedly bring down the patriarchy by killing its ruler, King Manfred. On one hand, I liked her determination to end injustice, but on the other hand, it just felt a little unrealistic. This gets into another problem I had about the book. The messages about feminism and injustice were a little on the nose for me. I understand this is a YA book, and so the message might need to be a little bit more overt since it's meant for a younger audience. But I felt like some lines were just a little over the top, and some more subtlety would have been welcome. I do like the messages about standing up to injustice. I just feel like they could have been delivered a bit more subtly. Even if this is YA, sometimes it's better to let actions of the characters deliver the message rather than saying the themes outright. We get to see this world's worst version of the fairy godmother. I really like the direction the author chose for depicting her. She's far from the upbeat, bubbly grandmother figure you might find in Charles Perrault's version of Cinderella. Instead, she's an old crone hiding from her shame and guilt in the middle of a forest. She has a devil-may-care personality and isn't afraid of telling people what's exactly on her mind. The godmother also has a dark secret relating to the truth of the Cinderella story. You see, as the book goes on, we find out that the palace-approved version of Cinderella isn't at all what really happened. The true version of Cinderella is filled with heartbreak, betrayal, and cruelty, and the godmother had a surprising role in it, not at all the nurturing benefactor she was thought to be. The love interest for Sophia is a girl named Constance, whom Sophia meets the night she ran away from the ball. Sophia actually meets in the Cinderella's mausoleum, and Constance, like Sophia, wants to bring down the king. We find out Constance is actually descended of one of the evil stepsisters that Cinderella knew. However, we find out the stepsisters were not at all the characters we think they were. I really enjoyed the romance between Constance and Sophia. It did feel like it happened a bit fast, but it was still cute seeing them together, especially since that the normally composed Sophia tends to turn into a helpless muss around Constance. It's overall a cute, healthy relationship between two girls, and I am here for it. As for the villain of the book, King Manfred, he's a pretty generic evil dictator. However, there is an interesting twist about his identity that I legitimately did not see coming. The author did a good job just showing how awful his character was, though there wasn't really anything about him to set him apart from other evil dictator characters. Still, he got the job done as the antagonist. Overall, I still really like Cinderella is Dead. It wasn't a perfect book by any means, but it was fast-paced, fun, sapphic fairy tale retelling. I do recommend it if you are all curious about this book. I wouldn't expect anything deep or profound from this book, and that's okay. Sometimes you just need a fun read to pass the time, and that's what this is. I'm Lauren Brantley Books, and please let me know if you have any suggestions of what I should review next. If you want to hear more reviews from me, feel free to subscribe, and also a like on this video goes a long way. Thank you so much for watching this review.